Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today's a busy day. There's a lot to talk about. We've got contract talks, we've got World Cup squads, we've got a game against Real Madrid in the Champions League tomorrow night. There's quite a lot to cover today, so let's not waste too much time. Let's talk about all of it and what is a very exciting week for Celtic. Before we go any further with the video, as always, make sure to hit like and subscribe as we try and get to the next milestone of 37,000 subscribers. So it would be appreciated if you haven't done that. And also, if you didn't see my video yesterday, keep in mind Sunday we'll be live for 12 hours straight on the channel in order for charity with Cerebral Palsy Scotland. So if you've not seen what I'm talking about, go and check out my Twitter, go and check out yesterday's video, and you guys can get involved ahead of Sunday. Anyway, a lot to talk about. It's an exciting day, as I've already said in the intro. A lot of news coming out today, some positive, some negative, and if you've seen it all, you kind of know what I'm alluding to, but we may as well start with the good news, shall we, because there's something that was very exciting to read this morning. Reported by Sky Sports this morning, Celtic apparently about to begin contract talks with two of our key players, Liel Abada and Georgios Giacomakis, in the attempt to sign them down to longer deals with the club. Fantastic news. I mean, what else has to be said? I could just leave it at that. That's all you want to hear. Now, hopefully, the contract talks are, in touch wood, successful. But apparently, both will begin talks this week to sign contracts that will keep them at the club until 2027, which is a year extension beyond their current deals to 2026. Two very good players, two players that are massive in our attacking lineup, and two players who this season have contributed quite greatly. 16 goals and 2 assists between the pair of them thus far this season. We know how much quality they offer, and you've got to look at the two of them in the sense that, you know, they're players who could have a big impact on this club for a long time, especially Abada, who's only 20 years old. Even at that, Giacomakis as well, he's someone that could be a mainstay in this Celtic side for the next 4 or 5 years. So to give them these contracts, very, very important, very smart by the club to open them up quite early as well. I mean, we're not long into their existing deals. But the value that I think that those two guys in particular have brought this club already has probably surpassed everyone's ambitions and certainly expectations. Now, I don't know what you thought originally when we signed these two guys, but I didn't expect neither of them to be as good as what they actually are. And that wasn't because of any bad reasons. They've just surpassed all of my expectations I had for them, and that's a good thing. Abada in particular, for such a young age, I know that sometimes he gets on people's nerves, and he can definitely be better on certain occasions. I think in Europe he's probably disappointed so far this season, but in general, for someone his age, the end product when it comes to his stats, the goals, the assists that he contributes to over the course of his Celtic career so far has blown me away, and I don't think any of us expected that. Not at all. Giacomakis as well, when he first came into the team, he struggled. He did. That's just being honest. He struggled when he first came in. He also got that big injury which kept him out for the majority of the opening half of last season. And then he came back in when Kyogo was injured. Once again, surpassed all expectation. These are two players who will quite rightly pick up interest from teams beyond Scotland. You know, you're talking maybe England, you're talking mainland Europe. I mean, Giacomakis is a guy who was top scorer in Dutch Eredivisie only a couple of years ago, came to Scotland and done as well as he's done so far. He's scored in the Champions League. You know, this is a guy who will attract interest from bigger clubs, and clubs in England would probably kill for a striker like him. Abada is someone with so much potential at the young age that he is. Same with him. They're going to attract interest from sides maybe in the Premier League or other top divisions. So for Celtic to open up these talks, to try and pin them down to new deals at this point in time is very smart. They're both in a very good place where they're involved heavily with the team. They both seem very happy where they are, and they seem to be enjoying their football. I don't think there is a better time than now, where, as we head into the kind of World Cup section of the season, for us to try and keep them around the club. it also begs the question, who's next? You know, who else are we going to see get extended contracts, or at least an attempt of an extended contract at Celtic? Because those are two of the many new faces that we've brought in and surpassed expectation. We've also got a few guys whose contracts are kind of quietly running down, you know, with people in their last couple of years. Will we start to see those contracts get extended over this period of the season? Who knows? It's very interesting to think about, but I was delighted to read that in Sky Sports this morning. As I said, touch wood, it all goes well. Don't imagine why it wouldn't. Give them the money they deserve. Keep them around. I, personally, would give Giakoumakis a contract for life, to be quite honest. One of those mega, super expensive deals that just keep him here forever. Yes, you know how much I love him. So I did say there was some sad news. Well, it depends what angle you want to look at this from, but I did say there was some sad news, and that is in regards to some of the World Cup squads that are being announced. If you haven't heard, then two of the Japanese boys will not, well, three actually, because Ideguchi's not been picked either, but I think we all seem to forget about Ideguchi's existence. But two of the three main Japanese players at Celtic have been left out of the World Cup squad. Kyogo and Ryo Hatate haven't been picked to represent their country at this upcoming World Cup, which is a real shame. We'll talk all about it. Dyson Maeda, however, congratulations to him. He's been picked. He will head over to Qatar with Japan for the World Cup. And as I said, it depends what kind of viewpoint you want to look at this from, because for Celtic fans, this could be good news. You know, Kyogo and Ryo Hatate are not going over with the risk of suffering injury. They're going to come back refreshed after the break. And I suppose if you look at it selfishly like that, it's probably more good news. But to flip it round and look at it from a human point of view, real shame for the two of them, because I think they're two players who we all know are good enough. They've shown they're good enough and have worked really hard to probably try and get a spot in that World Cup side. We're going to talk all about it, but yeah, I'm gutted for Kyogo in particular. I know Hatate is really class. I'm not saying he's not, right? But Kyogo, who has been just unbelievable since joining Celtic, he's been electric. A lot of people have been comparing him as the best since Larsson and such, and that conversation has been really, you know, genuine at times with how good he's been for Celtic. So I really did think he would have got picked, but it does seem, and the same with Hatate, it does seem that they've never really been fancied by the head coach of the Japanese national team. They haven't got as many minutes as you'd maybe expect with how good their form has been. So a lot of people not surprised they haven't been picked, but I was looking through some of the reaction on Twitter, doing some translating, and I think a lot of the Japanese fans, or some of them at least, are quite aggrieved that Kyogo has not been involved in the team. But, you know, it's a really talented squad. It's a really good side, and to get in there, you need to be, you know, top class, and they are two top class players, but I think it just kind of proves how good a footballing nation Japan really is. And, you know, it's a market that has been underlooked, especially in Scotland up until very recently. But you look at the players, and I didn't even realise until I put it out on my screen how many like top players they've got playing over in Europe and top divisions. You know, Belgium, Germany, England. You know, there's players everywhere doing a really good job. So I'm going to come on to that for a moment, because a lot of Celtic fans were getting really touchy about it. I'm like, okay, it doesn't really bother us. It's not our national team. It's fine. It's okay. But I think, you know, Kyogo's brilliant. Hatate, brilliant. But you look, I'm going to put up on the screen, you look at the players they've got in their midfield and their forwards here. And you know what, I would probably take Hatate and Kyogo personally over a couple of these guys. But just look at it, you don't even need to look at the names of the players themselves, because you might not have heard of a lot of them. But you look through the team, and there's top clubs there. You know, you've got Real Sociedad, Brighton, Frankfurt, Freiburg, Stuttgart, Sporting Lisbon. A lot of good teams. Club Brugge, Bochum, Bundesliga sides, top divisions. This was never going to be an easy team for these guys to walk into. And I guess probably, if I don't know the thinking of the head coach of the Japanese national team, but I'm going to guess that, you know, Kyogo, he's been in and out with fitness issues. He has missed a lot of big chances. Maybe that's had a factor in deciding whether or not he went with the team. Hatate, I'm not really sure about, because I think he's showed really good class. Some people inconsistent for some. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. The coach will have his reasons and why he's picked the team that he has. But I think, you know, there's positives for us. You know, we're not going to lose Kyogo through the World Cup, hopefully, because he won't be playing any big games at the competition. So you know, look at it however way you like. But a real shame for them. I was surprised to hear that this morning. I thought that they would have maybe got the nod. And finally, Christ, it's meant to be preview show day. It's the day before the game. I should be talking about Real Madrid tomorrow, and I feel like, oh well, I've only been wiring on about else what. Yeah, Celtic head to the Bernabeu tomorrow night. A big game in the sense that, you know, this is Real Madrid. It's the Bernabeu, the champions of Europe, the most famous stadium in the world, and Celtic will take centre stage there tomorrow. And what is a very meaningless game, of course, in the sense of, you know, it doesn't have any sort of effect on where we'll finish in this group. It's not that important in terms of result-wise, but listen, you can look at it like that if you want, but I still want Celtic to go out there tomorrow night and try and get something, and I want us to go out and play with a bit of pride. Not that we won't, you know, there is every chance that Real Madrid could give us a cuffing in their own backyard tomorrow, but I've been incredibly proud of how we've played at points over this group stage. We spoke about it in depth last week in the channel with your guys' opinions, but it's a massive chance to go out and show how good we are and how far we've came. If you listened to Vinicius Jr. speaking in the media the other day, he was really giving it good credit to Celtic, and a massive amount of respect for that, because what he said, I wholeheartedly agree with. You can call me biased or not, but when you see some of the best players in the world acknowledging it, then, you know, that's when you can sit down and say, yeah, we're right. We do deserve a bit of credit. We do deserve to be happy with the progress we've made under Ange Postecoglou. It might not have panned out the way we did in this group, but as Vinicius said, does our position sitting last in the group with the couple of points that we've got represent how we've played? No, I wouldn't say so. I think we deserved a lot more, and we did shoot ourselves in the foot. There's no denying that, but I think with the way we played, we should be walking away with our heads held high, and hopefully we can walk away from the Bernabeu with our heads held high. There's no reason Celtic can't go there and provide us with a shock. I mean, realistically, it's not going to happen. That's just being the realist that I am. But, you know, Sheriff Tiraspol went there last year and done it. Other teams have pulled off bigger upsets in the past. It's just going out and doing what we do with the confidence. You know, if we don't go there with confidence, there's no point in turning up at all. So, you know, I'm more than trusting of the manager and this group of players to turn up to the Bernabeu tomorrow night and bring us that confidence on the park and stand up to them and try and get something. It might not go the way we want it to, and realistically it won't, but you've still got to go there with a bit of confidence and try and get that. So it's an exciting game. I'm looking forward to watching it. I was obviously meant to be in Madrid right now. I should be there. Sadly, trip was cancelled. Long story. I'll maybe explain it in the live stream tomorrow. I'm, on that note, going to do a live stream tomorrow afternoon. We'll do a proper preview of the game with squad predictions, match insight, yada yada yada. We're still waiting, I think, on Ange to speak to the media anyway to give us a press conference update. So we'll have to wait for all of that before I can give, you know, a certainty on squad selection and such. But we should have a near fit enough team. We should be in a good position heading to the Bernabeu. I am excited, to say the least. Very, very excited. Right, okay. Longer one today again. Well, actually, the time I edit it might not be that long. But we'll be back tomorrow. Some news today for you. Hope you all have a nice evening watching some of the Champions League football. But yeah, until then, make sure to hit like and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.